War heroes don't come home early. Not in the world of Fallout, and not in a war like the Sino-American War. So why was Nate, a decorated, respected, combat-proven veteran, suddenly pulled from active duty and dropped back into suburban life before the war was over? What happened in Anchorage, Alaska that was important enough to win him medals, but also important enough to send him home? The lore tells us Nate fought in Anchorage. He wasn't just a soldier, he was good. Good enough to be called a war hero. But wartime heroes don't get early discharge. And they're kept out on the front lines, used as instructors or moved to classified operations. They don't get sent home to barbecue chicken in Sanctuary. Unless Uncle Sam needed him somewhere else. Unless the battlefield wasn't where Nate's skills were most valuable at the moment. What if his mind, not his body, was needed for something bigger? Now think about Operation Anchorage, the actual war. We see part of it firsthand through the simulation in the Fallout 3 DLC. But this simulation wasn't just a training tool. It wasn't a simple reenactment. It was shockingly accurate, with some embellishments. Immersive, reactive, and far more advanced than what Dr. Braun himself could have created from it. Tranquility Lane. Tranquility Lane was powerful but flawed. NPCs learned the patterns of the simulation, and they eventually realized something wasn't right with it. Dr. Braun himself even admitted how hard true realism was to create in these places. And the only place he truly felt at home was a place that was mirrored by the place he grew up with. And even then, he knew that it was a facsimile of it, not the real place. So why does Operation Anchorage feel so real? Why is it psychologically so convincing that people can be trained off of it? Why does the tactics and skills it teach actually work in the real world? Because it wasn't coded from scratch. It wasn't built on something Braun did. In fact, it was built on something Braun never had. An authentic human memory. Not a script, not a simulation, but a lived experience. The experience of a soldier that was actually there. Now, this isn't new in Fallout, and Van Buren Vault-Tec already had technology capable of storing, copying, and augmenting the human mind. We also know about this type of tech in Fallout 4 as well. Diana Stone, a dying scientist, literally became the operating system for an entire vault. Her consciousness kept an entire tribe of people alive. Kids. It kept a bunch of kids alive. Weird side thing here. The vault I'm talking about is actually the vault Harold came from. She kind of set herself up as a god, only accepted children into the vault, raised them as she wanted them raised, whilst also building a city for them to live in when they left the vault on Reclamation Day. Tangent aside, she was a Zax-linked human-machine hybrid copy, if you will. So the idea of copying a human mind into a system isn't a stretch, it's established. We know this in lore already. Now you take that tech to copy a human mind, to see human memories, and you pair it with a Visitron pod. You bring in the memory access technology that later evolves into the memory den, memory loungers, and you gain the framework for something Vault-Tec and the military would kill to perfect. A memory-based training simulation using real combat memories from real soldiers. The first soldier of which was Nate. Nate was never discharged from the military. He was simply reassigned, quietly, privately, without public record. He was brought home, but not to retire. He was brought home to be studied. A war hero who survived incalculable odds in Anchorage. The perfect source material for the military's most advanced combat training simulation. And as such, Vault-Tec would want his sensory memories, his combat instincts, his leadership patterns, his morale under stress, his problem-solving capabilities in combat situations, how he acts under pressure. Memory Den Tech shows us later how complete and immersive memory extraction can be. But in Nate's time, these were working prototypes. Experimental, unstable, dangerous. Nate and Nora had money, educated, comfortable. But the way Vault-Tec seems to be pounding down their door to get them signed up for the Vault. The Vault-Tec rep was desperate, manic almost, to make sure they were signed up for Vault 111. Vault 111 wasn't meant to be a shelter. It was a control environment for cryogenic and psychological experiments, both on the residents and on the security there. Nate being assigned there wasn't luck, it was placement. Because after all, he was a valuable military asset. Someone whose memories had been copied and used for the military. Someone the government wanted to preserve. Because after all, a dead Nate is useless. A frozen Nate, on the other hand, still valuable, still usable. And Nora and his son being included makes even more sense. Now speaking of Nora, Nate's wife, Nora has combat skills she shouldn't have. Firearm proficiency, strong melee capabilities, knows how to use power armor I should say, without training, and reacts tactically under stress. She's a pre-war lawyer with no battlefield experience. So where did she learn these skills? Sure, Nate could have taught her how to handle a gun, could have told her how power armor works. But the strange thing is how she operates under pressure, like someone who's been there before, someone who's done it before, someone who's seen real combat. What if while Nate's memories were being extracted to make this simulation, she was asked to take part in the program as one of the first test subjects of the simulation? After all, she knows Nate. She is close with Nate. She is intimate with Nate. She knows how he acts, how he behaves, how he does things. She would be the best candidate to see if anything in the simulation was off beyond Nate himself. So if she ran through early versions of Operation Anchorage, built from Nate's memories, then of course she would fight like him, respond like him, and be able to carry herself like him. Because she would have technically fought the Battle of Operation Anchorage just as Nate did. This brings us to the final piece. When you play the Operation Anchorage DLC, the Lone Wanderer is stepping into the boots of an unnamed soldier. But what if that soldier wasn't anonymous? What if the soldier was Nate? The tactics he used, the leadership choices he made, and the final assault that he led. Anchorage wasn't a reenactment. It was Nate's war. Archived and converted into a training system. A perfect loop to make great soldiers. Nate fights in Anchorage, his memories become source material, the military refines it, Operation Anchorage becomes the standard in training soldiers. And then you have an army of people just as capable of as Nate. Because Nate wasn't just a war hero. He was a resource, a blueprint, a living data set. His service didn't end in Anchorage. It continued in laboratories, VR pods, and digital archives. And when the bombs fell, Vault-Tec kept their prototype memory soldier on ice, preserved and waiting. When he awakens in 2287, he isn't a relic of the old world. He's the man whose memories trained an army. A soldier whose war never technically ended. The first prototype memory soldier. I'd like to thank Eric, Hewitt, and Big O for sticking around. Thanks, guys. It means a lot. If you want to become a member, too, link is in... words are hard sometimes. Link is in the description below. Also have a Discord kicking around now. If you guys want to join that. Might put it in a pinned comment or something. With that out of the way, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.